What's going on, everybody? You found Bottom Tier Collector, and I'm bringing you a bottom tier list from a bottom tier gamer. I got new comic books up for decoration, but we're not talking comic books today. We're talking video games. I told Russ in his top 5 childhood games video in his comments section that I was not going to comment on. I was not going to leave my top 5 list in a comment. I was going to make a video and then tag Super Russ in it. So that was good. This is my response. It's not a challenge, although I'm sure Russ would love it if you guys want to make a video and comment or tag Russ with your top 5 favorite video games. But without further ado, let's get into it. These are in no particular order. I will talk about my favorite game of all time, but again, it's give or take. You know, I don't really want to rank these. These are just top 5, not in any particular order. First up, let's see. What do I want to do first? I own 4 physical copies of my top 5. 1 I don't own, and I will try. I'm going to try to edit something here, maybe some gameplay, maybe a video game poster or something, so you guys will enjoy this video a little more. But first up, I got Star Fox 64. I freaking love Star Fox 64 in particular. The replayability is incredible. And for a good year, maybe even 2 years spurt, I was practicing Star Fox 64 runs, and I was contemplating the idea. This was kind of in between. This was kind of during when I was still in the craft beer community, and I was kind of getting out of it, and right before I came to the comic book community. I was toying with the idea of doing like speed runs on Twitch and being a part of that Star Fox 64 community, and I may still do that one day. It's very easy to just sit down and play Star Fox 64. It's not a game that requires hours of play, so it's still on the table, but not for now, you know. But that just goes to show you guys how much I love the game. I often used to tell people I would beat the hard route on Star Fox 64 back when I was, let's see, the game came out in 1997, and I think I got it the first year it came out. So I would have been 8 years old, I believe, 8 or 9 years old. So as an 8, 9, 10-year-old kid, I would just be bored at home and say, hey, let's beat the hard routes on Star Fox 64. The routes where you go over the top of the map, and you have to kill all of Andross, the brain and the eyes, and there's just something magical about anthropomorphic stuff. Now, I'm not a furry, and I don't judge anybody who is a furry and who's into that kind of stuff. That's your own business behind closed doors. But I just like anthropomorphic characters like Bronze Tiger from DC Comics, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Star Fox, obviously. They're just something cool. I used to read the Animorphs in like 5th grade, 4th, 5th grade. I read like the first 10. I even read like the prequel book that not a lot of people who are aware of the Animorphs know about. They're just something. There was even a TV show about the Animorphs. So just something about anthropomorphic characters that I find really cool, really interesting. I like the lore and just the world. You know, this chimpanzee Andross comes to the Lylat system, which is essentially the solar system, but in their universe. And this mercenary group under the name of Star Fox, headed by Fox McCloud, goes and saves the Lylat system. They team up with Party Foul, dropped one of my cartridges. But the Star Fox team teams up with the Cornerian Army and General Pepper to stop Andross and his evil forces. I don't know the name of the 4 soldiers you get to know on Andross's side, but there's Pigma, there's Andrew, who is Andross's nephew, I believe. There's Pigma, and then there's my one of my favorite characters in all of Star Fox, Star Wolf, the rival of James McCloud, Fox McCloud's father, and Fox McCloud. And the levels are fun; they're imaginative. You know, for a rail shooter that seems, you know, it's limited mechanically and you know, if you want to get into the technical aspects of Star Fox 64, it's got its limitations, but they did such a great job of making the game feel grandiose and huge, and it still feels big to this day. I came really close to, and I'm sorry I'm rambling, guys. I just love Star Fox 64. I could just keep going on and on. I'll tell this last story and we'll move on to the next game, I promise. But I said the game came out in 1997, so 2017 would be 20 years of Star Fox 64. 18, 19, 20, so 26 years. We're roughly 25, 26 years of Star Fox 64. And I have yet to unlock the multiplayer. There's a hidden, this is back when you didn't have the microtransactions. You couldn't pay your way to a completed platinum trophy. You had to actually put the work in back in the day with these kinds of games. And 26 years later, I still have not unlocked the multiplayer feature where you can get out of your ships and roam around as either Falco, Fox, Slippy, or Peppy, which is a really cool feature. I had a friend unlock that. I just need to get 100 kills on the hardest level to medal on. They have the high score system, and if you get so high of a score on each planet, they award you a medal, and it saves your medals. So each time you play through, you can see each medal on each planet. And once you get a medal on every single planet, it unlocks that multiplayer feature. And I just need 100 kills on Sector Z, and I got 99 points. I was so heartbroken. I turned the game, this was like 2 months ago. I turned the game off and I haven't played it since. I was just so heartbroken and frustrated. That is the hardest level among players to medal on, and I'm still working at it. That's the last level I need a medal on. And I will feel pretty accomplished with what I've done with Star Fox 64. Let's move on to the next game. And since I've already failed, let's just go ahead. Well, no, I'm gonna hold off on this game. I'm gonna put up a different game. Donkey Kong Country for the Super Nintendo. I've got such fond memories of this game. My cousin Melody, if you ever watch this video, Melody, love you. I'm glad you're still alive and kicking. You're safe and sound. I hope you're safe and sound anyways. But my cousin Melody owned a Super Nintendo back in the day. This is before I even had a Nintendo 64. And it was one of the few games she owned. I don't know if she owned any other game on Super Nintendo. And I would just spend hours. And I sucked. It took me until I was roughly, I don't know, 25, 26 to beat Donkey Kong Country. It was when I worked at Polaris when I finally beat it with my friend. And then I would say in the last 4 or 5 years, I finally beat it solo. I still haven't 100% completed the game where you spell Kong in every level and you get all the unlockables. I still haven't been able to do that. Donkey Kong is a pretty tough game. My uncle did, my cousin Melody's father. He 100% completed the game, and when you go into Donkey Kong's banana closet, or whatever you want to call it, inside the tree in the first level, you'll see a room full of bananas. It won't be empty. So that's really what happens when you 100% complete Donkey Kong Country. But I have beaten like the base game, and just fond memories of playing those levels. It's one of my favorite platformers of all time. The music is incredible. I still listen to Aquatic Ambience, which is the music from the first water level in Donkey Kong Country. To this day, me and my son have fallen asleep to Aquatic Ambience. Some of my favorite levels are the minecart levels, where it's just essentially Diddy and Donkey in a minecart speeding along on these rails, and all you're doing is picking your spots when you need to jump over gaps in the track or to get up onto a different platform to get a life balloon or more bananas or whatever. And it's really fast paced. So it's real fun to play those minecart levels. King K. Rool is one of the hardest bosses I ever fought. I just remember since my uncle had the game 100% complete, I would just go to the end boss and try to just beat it, because I'd always get to the ice zone with all the ice levels, and that's usually where I would die. And sometimes, if I was really in a good zone, I'd make it to the industrial park area. And that was on, just if I was on my A game, I'd get to the industrial zone, and then there I would game over. But most of the time, I would make it to the ice area and game over. But since, again, my uncle had it 100% complete, I'd go try and fight King K. Rool, the hardest boss I ever fought. Having gone back all these years later and made it to King K. Rool and beat him, I'd say the mechanics are still pretty tricky. You still gotta, there's still some skill required. You can't just, in my opinion, you can't just come back to Donkey Kong Country and beat King K. Rool in one turn after not having played the game for a couple months. You'll need a refresher round. So King K. Rool is a challenging boss for the game. I love the lore. Again, more anthropomorphic characters. I remember the cartoon. I played Donkey Kong Country before I became a big Wario fan. Donkey Kong was the character I would play with all the time on Mario Kart or Mario Party. Now that I'm such a big fan of Heels, I play Wario on all those kinds of games now. But yeah, much love for Donkey Kong Country. Let's move on. Pokemon. Now this is Pokemon Fire Red, and technically I didn't acquire this in my childhood. I acquired this when I was a teenager, and I'm kind of a closet Pokemon fan. It's not something, on here on YouTube, I'll talk Pokemon all day with people if that's what they want to do, but I'm just more closeted in real life about my Pokemon fandom. I know you shouldn't be ashamed of things, but that's just not something I care to talk about with people. However, I'm a huge Gen 1 Pokemon nerd, and I by no means am I the expert. I've not seen every movie. I've not seen every episode of the anime. I don't own any of the manga, but I have over 200 hours in my Fire Red cartridge right now. I'm trying to work on... I've never actually 100% completed Fire Red. I've 100% completed a Red version, which is technically the actual game that I played in my childhood. I put hours in that. I put so many hours into that game. I trained a Charizard to level 100 without any rare candies. I played that much. I mean, I acquired like probably billions of dollars in the casino in Saffron City. I believe it's Saffron City. The Erica's the gym leader. I always get Saffron City. I always get the city, Sabrina and Erica. Their cities makes it Cerulean City. It just came to me. Cerulean City. The Cerulean City. Is it Cerulean or Celadon? Oh, I'm getting all my cities mixed up. And I got 200 hours in this game. Let's see. You go through Pallet Town. Then there's Viridian. Then you go to Pewter City. And then Cerulean is Misty City. Okay. And then Vermilion is Sergeant... Oh, I forget his name. Sergeant Spark or something like that. Anyways, he's the electricity gym leader. And then you'll make your way to Lavender Town, where there's the Ghost Tower. And then you make your way to Celadon. Okay, so I had to go back through the map in this game. Celadon, the casino in the Celadon. I spent hours on that casino. I remember being on a beach trip with my next door neighbor, and we both had Game Boy Colors playing. I was playing Fire Red. He was playing not Fire Red, Red version, and he was playing Blue version. And I think we racked up billions of dollars. I even did the glitch on Cinnabar Island. You're supposed to put like a rare candy in a certain slot, and then go to the beach next to the Pokemon Center on Cinnabar Island, and then Mystical Number, I think is his name, or Missing Number. Missing Number appears, and it gives you tons of EXP, and supposedly it's like an in-game virus. I think I looked it up. Too bad missing number is not on this game. The grind is real on Fire Red. I don't have the ability to. I don't have a game shark, so I can't put in infinite rare candies, and then it's not fun cheating anymore on those games. But yeah, I'm just rambling about this game. I love it. Like I said, 200 hours. I've just, for current progress, for you people who may care, I've got 7 badges. I've just beaten Blaine, and my strategy usually is every Pokemon I deem worthy of putting in my main party, my 6 Pokemon that I take with me into battle, I try to level them up 10 levels before I fight a new city gym leader. So, the grind is real. I'm in the 60s trying to get to the 70s, and I kind of broke my rule. I just tapped out with the grinding. I went ahead and defeated Blaine with level 60-ish Pokemon. And you only need level 60-ish Pokemon to get through the game if you're good enough at your strategy. You probably need to be in the 70s, though. That's more recommended. But yeah, I'm currently trying to grind right now. And what's great about Pokemon, if you need a break from grinding your main 6 Pokemon in your party that you take with you to fights, you can do what I do, where I break it up and I work on my Pokédex. So I'll catch Pokemon I need to fill out my Pokédex, and I'll train them a little bit and get them to where they'll evolve, and then I'll put them in my PC and switch out for more Pokemon I need to evolve and train and fill out the Pokédex. That's kind of what I'm doing right now at the moment. I'm kind of burnt out on grinding towards Giovanni for the Earth badge, so I'm doing that Pokédex grinding, just training up some of my weaker Pokemon to fill out my Pokédex. And I hope to one day. I learned there's extra features in Fire Red. I didn't know this when I bought the game. I've had this game for 10, 15 years now. I got it, maybe not right after it came out, but I got it within the first couple of years it released. Because I just always wanted Fire Red in an updated Game Boy Advance graphic, like remastered game. And we got it with Fire Red. I forget where I was going. I'm just having so much fun talking about Pokemon Fire Red. I used to have, like, most of the Pokemon, just a fun little story. The Books A Million near me used to sell the Pokemon cards, and that was the spot. With me and my buddy, we'd go into Books A Million with our allowance, and I'd buy 2 or 3 packs of Pokemon cards. And I held a Pokemon pack in my car. I was looking for the Charizard, like everybody is, first edition holographic Charizard. And I held I'll never forget this. I held a pack of Pokemon cards in my hand, and my gut was just telling me, just put it down and reach for a different one. Well, my friend actually picked it up. My friend actually picked up that pack I put down, and I picked up a different pack, and I'll be gosh darned, I opened the holographic Blastoise, which is a card I needed, a card I wanted in my collection. But he opened up the pack I had in my hand and put down. He opened the first edition holographic Charizard, which, if he was able to slab that and sell it off, I mean, that card's, maybe I'm getting my numbers wrong, but I could swear at one point that card was worth like $100,000. Pretty insane. And I held the pack that had that card in my hand at one point. No hard feelings, though. I'm not jealous of that friend. I'm happy for him. I hope he made a lot of money off that card if he held on to it. Before the Pokemon card boom, I was looking on eBay. I could have bought an entire first edition Pokemon card set for like $150 back when I was considering getting the first generation Pokemon card set back in my possession, but I decided against it. Now I regret it because Pokemon cards have blown up. They broke PSA. The CGC of slabbing cards company, PSA, they raised their prices for a little bit to back off the Pokemon card people, and they were only going to work on cards that were worth so much money. because the Pokemon card people like essentially broke PSA. At least that's my theory. But let's move on. Enough about Pokemon Fire Red. This is my all-time favorite video game. I don't play it as much anymore, but this game is my heart. It's my childhood. It's everything I love about video games, and that is Super Mario 64. I was a Mario kid. You know, some people were Turtles kids, and I loved the Turtles. Some kids grew up on the Power Rangers in the 90s, and I did watch the Power Rangers. I loved the Power Rangers. There was, you know, the Street Sharks kids, those toys. I collected Street Sharks, and I wish I still had my original Street Sharks. I liked the Street Shark. There were Sonic kids. I was a Mario kid. That was my thing, you know. And some of you guys in the community were comic book kids, you know, the Spider-Man animated, the X-Men animated series, Superman animated, Batman animated. You know, the 90s were a fun time to be a kid. But for me, Mario was my mascot, my guy. I grew up a Mario kid. To my knowledge, it's a groundbreaking game, technically, mechanically speaking. It's like it may not be the first 3D game, but it was like the first mainstream 3D game where we were getting away from 16-bit graphics. It just kind of broke. It just kind of, you know, in today's day and age, we would say it melted the internet. Well, this broke the gaming world back then. It's the first game I ever 100% thoroughly got. You know, if platinum trophies were a thing back then, Super Mario 64 would be the game I got all 120 stars in. I think you need 60 or 70 stars to beat the base game, where you'll be allowed to fight level 3 Bowser final boss fight. But you don't get access to Yoshi on top of the roof if you don't get all 120 stars. You need all 120 stars to have access to Yoshi on the roof, and it's really kind of a letdown. You just talk to Yoshi, he's like, "Hey, what's up, dude?" He gives you like 100 extra lives. That's about it. There's no, you know, this was back again. You know, gaming was pretty primitive still in the 90s. This was before internet. You know, the internet was real relevant, so unlocking the game didn't mean too much, but it was still a fun feature to meet Yoshi and stuff. And each level was so imaginative. The idea of jumping into a painting in Peach's castle and you're open to this whole world is incredible. The graphics they hold up to this day, in my opinion. They're stunning graphics for what it is. It's not realistic, obviously. It's a Mario game. But for a cartoony, creative, imaginative game, I think the graphics still hold up to this day. Every level is fun. I would say there's maybe 1 or 2 levels that I don't really care for. I forget the name of the level where you unlock Metal Mario. It's actually, I'm replaying the game now in my free time. I'm trying to 120 star the game again. The level where you're underground, you have to jump through the liquid. It looks like a liquid metal puddle. You have to jump through that to get to the level. There's like a big it looks like Lapras from Pokemon. There's like a big Lapras or a big Loch Ness monster, if you will, in a cave down there. But it's that level where you unlock the metal Mario hat. That's probably my least favorite level. And then I don't care for when you get to the top of the castle. You're right there at the end fixing to fight Final Bowser. There's a clock level, and I forget the name of the clock level. You jump through the face of a clock. Pretty cool way to get to that level. That's not a level I'm too crazy about either. But other than that, I just love the game. My entire childhood, I just get goosebumps, and I feel good. I get that warm, fuzzy, nostalgic, sentimental feeling inside me. All those memories come back of me playing this game and having so much fun. I even bonded with my mother a little bit with Super Mario 64. Some fond memories I have, which I don't know if my mother's ever going to see this, but we don't have the most fantastic relationship anymore. So I've got some fond memories with my mom even on Super Mario 64. Super Mario 64 was the game that really got me on the path to gaming, and really got me. I think if it wasn't for Donkey Kong Country and Super Mario 64, I don't know if I'd be where I am today with comic books. Because I grew up in a pretty all-American household. We went to church every Sunday and Wednesday. I watched sports. I was an athlete and a jock growing up as a kid. But I had that nerdy side, and I attribute a lot of it to Super Mario 64 and the Nintendo 64 Entertainment System. It really blossomed a nerd side in me, and I'll always be thankful for that game. So I don't own the physical copy of the last game I want to talk about. This is a game that until the last 2 or 3 years, I could not remember the name of it. All I had were the memories of playing this game. It's an MS-DOS game, which is why I don't own a copy. I'd love to get a physical copy of this game, maybe find a poster or something, put it up in the bonus room one day. I wish there were toys of this, but Commander Keen, I believe, is what I'm thinking of. I always want to call it Captain Clean, but I'm pretty sure it's Commander Keen. And it's an incredibly fun game that I have memories at summer camp, at my church. Some of my fondest memories of my childhood are being in summer camp at my church. We had an incredible summer camp. It wasn't just staying at church and doing things you would imagine you do at a Christian summer camp. No, we went out. Every Monday we went to the water park, unless the weather permitted. Every Tuesday we went to the skating rink that used to be in our town. Every Wednesday was the bowling alley day. Every Thursday we went back to the skating park, and sometimes we'd take a break on either Tuesday or Thursday and just stay put. And then Friday was kind of a free-for-all. We'd either go on field trips, if you will, like to Soto Caverns or something like that, or we'd stay at the church and just play around at the playground at the church or whatever. Very fond memories of that summer camp. I have a blessed childhood, and I don't know if I can match, the memories I have at summer camp. I don't know. I wish I could give my son those kind of memories. And that church has since relocated. They don't do anything much with child care anymore outside of caring for your child during service. So that whole thing is defunct now, and that skate castle doesn't exist anymore. And the water park isn't necessarily the safest place anymore. There's been shootings at the water park. I would imagine people get mugged up there. It's not a bad part of town. It's not like the cities let it go to the wayside. But it just, when you have a touristy area in your city, which we do, which is that Point Mallard, and we're quite famous. I believe our water park, Point Mallard, has the first ever wave pool. I believe that is our claim to fame with Point Mallard. But yeah, I want to take my son to Point Mallard, and the skate castle no longer is there anymore. And you go to the bowling alley that I would go to as a kid, and it's still stuck in like 1975. You smell which being the person I am and having, excuse me, I don't know where this coughing fit came from. Being a fan of comic books and loving that oxidized paper and excuse me, just certain smells trigger brain memories, something I took from the craft beer community. Smell is a very important sense of your body. It can just trigger so many good feelings and memories. To me, smelling 1975 and that kind of mildewy old smell in that bowling alley makes me feel good. It makes me remember things that I love about my childhood. But I don't know. I don't know if it's somewhere I'd want to take my son, because it's not the most updated bowling alley anymore. It's still there. It's still kicking. People, I think there's a bowling league. I think people still go up there and bowl. But again, I don't know. I don't know if it's something that will grab my son's attention when I could go 45 minutes northeast up the road to Huntsville, Alabama, and go to Stars and Stripes, and there's another one, Pints and Pixels. I think they have a bowling alley. So yeah, but yeah, I don't know if I could give my childhood to my son and have him enjoy it as much. And part of that, again, going back to Commander Keen, I've just rabbit trailed so bad on this video, but Commander Keen, that was probably my favorite video game for a long time. And after I grew out of the summer camp and got too old for summer camp, which is about 12 or 13 years old, all I had were the memories of that game. And I don't even remember the process I used to remember that game again. It might have been the 8-Bit Guy on YouTube. Shout out to the 8-Bit Guy. Go look him up. He has some videos on MS-DOS gaming, and maybe that got me. I just Googled MS-DOS games and then clicked on things until they looked familiar, and I found it. Commander Keen. I never got past the second level, but you know, I could play that first level over and over and over. I thought it was so cool, and I just had to shout out Commander Keen. The goal eventually is to get a laptop and refurbish it and have it ready for vintage MS-DOS gaming, and I really just use it for Commander Keen because that's all I really care about. Anyways, and that's it. Those are the top 5 childhood games. I rambled. I'm sorry for that, guys. I hope you stayed with me through this video. I'm going to try and put some editing up here some way, shape, or form. It might be a static picture. It might be gameplay. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do that, but I'm going to try and get you guys through the video some way, shape, or form. I did some house cleaning right before I turn off the video. I went to Five Below because I need a foam roller for my back. I don't really want to talk about my personal problems on YouTube. That's not why I come to YouTube, but full disclosure, I've got a weak back. My L5 is pretty much jelly. It's squished. It's horrible. I'm going to have a spine fusion sometime in my life. I've been told to prolong it as long as I can. That's probably because of where the deterioration is from, or is at in my spine, you know, being at the base of my back. And so because of what's going on with that disc, I deal with sciatica, and my back is starting to shrivel up now that my epidural has worn off. It's just this whole thing, and I don't really want to talk about it too much, but I went into Five Below for a foam roller to start getting into stretching exercises for my back, because I want to be a little more proactive about my back, not just rely on TENS machine and pain relief medicine. And I picked up 2 Dragon Ball Z energy drinks. I love Dragon Ball Z. Another thing that, you know, I love about my childhood, we had Dragon Ball Z. I didn't see any of the Nimbus energy drinks, so I don't know if I'll ever get to review Nimbus. I'll probably try to find a website that sells these Dragon Ball Z energy drinks and try to order one online, maybe, because I'd love to try all the energy drinks. But I do have the Spirit Bomb, which has Goku on the cover of the bottle, and then I have the Warrior Power, which has Piccolo on the cover, and I'm going to review one of those probably today. I'm feeling froggy. I might do a double drop depending on what time it is when I get off this video. But look forward to some Dragon Ball Z energy drink reviews in the future. Shout out to Super Russ. I know you're a big Vegeta fan, so hopefully, Super Russ, you'll enjoy my energy drink reviews as well. Top 5 favorite games of all time. I don't know. Definitely my top 5 favorite childhood games of all time. And until next time, guys.